Hi guys, it's Kamil here and I'm coming to you today with Nora Ikstena, Soviet Milk. This will be a review of this novel, obviously. And this one is not scripted, so bear with me because probably sometime during this review I will go on a tantrum. This is a great book, by the way, so it will be a positive tantrum. I think that's oxymoron, right? Nonetheless, this one was published by Peirenne Press, and this is their first publication this year. Every year they publish 3 short novels translated from European languages into English, and all of them every year have some overlying theme. This year the title of the theme is Home in Exile, and this is the first novel in that trilogy. Soviet Milk by Nora Ikstena. Before I go and start talking about this book, I will mention the writer, because Nora Ikstena is a big literary name in Latvia. She published 20 books so far. Her first book was published in 1998, so obviously she is quite a prolific writer, I would say. Her novel, Soviet Milk, released in 2015 in Latvia, received Latvian Literary Prize for the Best Prose, Annual Latvian Literary Award for Best Prose. So you already know that this is something that was highly recognized, not only in Latvia but in Baltics in general. As the title already suggests, this is a book set in Soviet Latvia, and it's told from the perspective of 2 women, a mother and a daughter. Both of them are named, and what's very interesting at the beginning is the fact that both of them start their stories, the stories of their life, by telling the story of their mothers. So before you start being able to distinguish very characteristic for each of those characters' tone in the prose, you might be a bit lost, and I think that was done on purpose. So the daughter is a young, very joyful, looking bright into the future girl, while the mother is bitter. And I found it very interesting because it not only pushes you to be able to distinguish the characteristics, the tones in the prose, but also build this feeling of motherhood very early at the beginning of this book. And what's interesting here is the fact that this motherhood idea, archetype, is used in very different ways, in a few different ways. Both motherhood that is natural, biological, motherhood that is acted by the daughter because she is the adult in the relationship, and when both of them at some point in this book move to the village side, she is the one taking care of the home, she is the one acting as an adult person in this relationship, while her mother is going back and forth into episodes of deep depression. The other mother in this book is the state. The state itself, Soviet state. Latvia was part of Soviet Union, obviously, during Soviet times, and this state is the one that is destroying their kids. Similarly to how the real mother, the mother protagonist of this book, was affecting the daughter. This is the feeling you get at the beginning. Fortunately, the story is not that one-sided, and you change the perspective later on when you learn more about the mother. But at the beginning, she's not a very motherly character. She's the one that would put above everything the freedom. She was a bright woman that was destroyed by the state because she was unable to break down and follow the rules. She was punished severely and was exiled to this little place, the only one where she was able to progress with her profession and be a doctor. This feeling and theme of freedom as the most important idea in this woman's life is something extremely interesting. There are a few moments that showcase that element in this book. She would put the idea of freedom and the fact that she doesn't have it above everything else, and that affects severely the relationship that she has with her daughter. So By the way, she was a doctor that was dealing with fertility. She was working mostly with women. And there is one paragraph that I want to read. I never raised questions among my woman patients, never consoled anyone to have an abortion. But giving birth and letting a child enter this world in this time and place seemed to me as senseless as everything else that was going on around us. We were cut off from the world. We were destined for a somnambulant existence and condemned to call it life. And I found myself at the heart of this somnambulism. I, one of the rank and file, day after day promoting and pursuing senselessness. Interesting. The second theme that I found extremely telling, sorry, it just drives me nuts, my phone. So the other very telling and very interesting theme in this novel was the titular milk, right? The mother, the character of the mother in the novel, decided not to give the milk to her daughter, as she called it, bitter. She was bitter because the world destroyed her, the country that she lived in destroyed her, and she decided not to transfer any part of herself to her daughter, aside of what was already biologically given when she gave birth. So that's one, and then because of that, the daughter develops the aversion to milk. Something that is so strongly connected with motherhood, at the very beginning of the novel sets the tone for their relation. And this relation is not black and white. It's not a typical crazy hateful mother story. It's a story of both women trapped in this autocratic regime that Soviet Union was. And I believe it's handled extremely well. And obviously, you can only guess now how the story would develop and how the daughter would behave when she starts understanding what's really going on around her. Nora Ikstena also in this novel refers to a few literary heavyweights. George Orwell, obviously. There is a moment when she is asked, before she's being promoted early in her career, if she believes in God. If you read 1984, you understand the reference. Then the book itself appears at the later part of this novel. And then the favorite book of the mother is the one that I haven't read yet, being very honest, is Melville's Moby Dick. And I probably missed some references here because I haven't read the book. Nonetheless, that was a brilliant experience, a short book that gives you tons to think about. That's a shame, as I already said, that it's not longlisted for Man Book International Prize, but it shouldn't stop any of you from picking it up and reading it. And also probably because of the fact that, as I would guess, and also I'm not an exception, I don't think you've read a lot of Latvian literature, right? So if you want to start somewhere, this is probably the best place to go, as this is a brilliant book. Yeah, talk to you soon, people. Bye bye.